concrete traffic, experimental 426, Bravo, Bravo. Departing runway 18.
Hey, I'm Bill Hicks. I'm retired. I'm 73 years old. I just love one thing, and I don't know why that is.
Okay, ready to go? Okay, here we go.
Oh, I loved airplanes when I grew up. My favorite time was when my dad and I would go to the airport and sit and watch airplanes take off and land, you know. So I've been attracted to airplanes. I mean, it's just, I don't like golf, I don't like fishing, I don't, you know, I've done both and I do both once in a while, but, you know, my passion was airplanes. Most afternoons I take the little plane and go out and fly around a little bit, and that 30 minutes, I don't think about anything else. It's just, it's my meditation period, or whatever you want to say. I look at life in kind of in thirds. I look at it, the first third of your life you spend developing yourself, getting your career going and all that. And then the middle part of your life, you take care of providing for your families, getting them educated, getting them on their way. And then now I'm in the last third of my life, which I believe is what you give back to others. Any and all you can give back to others. My grandmother had a clock, and I probably was, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9 years old, and it wouldn't work, and so she gave it to me, and I took it apart, and I don't know why it began working, but she always reminded me of that. I took her clock apart and put it back together, and it worked. And so, yeah, so and I made model airplanes when I was growing up. My dad worked a lot. He and I didn't vacation together. We didn't spend a lot of time together. So the times that we would go to the airport really were, as I said, those were highlights of my life. He had his own business. He had a grocery store and a feed store and a meat market. So he was working, you know, from early in the morning till late in the evening. When I graduated from college, he sold them all because he didn't want me to come back and work in a grocery store. So I think when you work, there's often a block of stuff you have to do that you don't enjoy nearly as much as others. Well, now I don't really have to do that. I can delegate that to someone else, or I can just not do it. You know, you just have the flexibility to work on the things that you're interested in. Everybody wants to build an airplane in 6 months or a year, and it takes a lot longer than that. And it just depends on, most people build a bigger airplane like this probably takes at least 3,000 man-hours, maybe more. And most people don't have the time to spend, you know, I think there's 2,000 man-hours a year if you work 8 hours, 40 hours a week, that kind of thing. I always tell people it's like a marathon, it's not a sprint. When I graduated from college, I went in the Air Force because I love planes, and they had planes. So, and then when I got out of the Air Force, I interviewed with all kinds of companies. Even before I went in the Air Force, I did, you know. I was 28 years old when I took my job with Conoco, and many of my peers at that point were 5 years younger than I was. But because I had been a squadron commander and aircraft commander, because I'd had a lot of management positions already, it gave me a big advantage. It gave me a lot of, well, confidence and experience in taking leadership roles. As you become competent as a pilot, It's like anything, once you learn your skills, then you're able to develop another set of skills, which is more like a management job then. How I got in the Air Force, I was married with children, so I didn't have at that time there was a draft, so a lot of people were having to go. It was during the Vietnam War. One day I was walking across the campus to turn in my books or sell my books back at the bookstore, and the student union was there, and there was an Air Force recruiter there. And he was giving away posters of the latest and greatest airplanes, which are now archaic F-100s. So anyway, I just stopped by to pick up a poster, and we struck up a conversation. He was probably a good salesman, and he said to me, if you ever thought about the Air Force? No, not really. He said, well, if you take this test and if you make a good enough grade on it, I can assure you go through pilot training. Long story short, I scored well enough, and so I got an offer from the Air Force to go to pilot training. I don't know, my life's perspective changed when I went to war because at that time it was a lot, today's wars, you don't have so many people killed, but when I went to Vietnam, we had almost 50,000 people killed. You thought about life perhaps, well, I know I thought about life differently, having spent 4 to 5 years of my life in a war conflict. I would say that it certainly made me look at life differently, trying to make sure I enjoy what I have when I have it, because you don't know how long you will have it. Main things in the Air Force is you move around a lot, and it's very hard on the family because they are left to their own devices to take care of themselves, and not in terms of finances, but in terms of you're just gone a lot. I spend a lot of my time helping my children and my grandchildren in whatever they want to do or can do. That's what gives me the most joy now. Sometimes I look out the window and I'm thinking, I built this in my garage and I'm doing 200 miles an hour, and that's,